Tuesday by our senior writer, Brian Windhorst. We have Glinda the Good over here, Shanae Agumake, Kendrick Perkins, our resident big man, beaming in from home. I'm Malika Andrews, and we're going to preview this must-see Cup matchup tonight, particularly the one that we have in Boston. But first, I think we need to head to Miami, friends, where the Sixers' lackluster start to the season continued. Jimmy Butler made his return after missing 4 games. Embiid also in the lineup after being listed as doubtful for most of the day with an illness here, Chanae. So we're going to pick this one up in the second quarter. The Sixers start off leading this one. Jared McCain finds Joel Embiid here for the mid-range jumper.
Yeah, that's what he can make in his sleep. You have to keep your eye on explosive plays because that's what was lacking when it came to his game.
And then kicking it back out to Joel Embiid. Joel looking for the 3 here, Brian, nails it.
That's the Joel Embiid we saw all last year. This was not the Joel Embiid we saw most of last night.
To that point, let's go ahead to the third quarter here. The Heat down by just 3 now. Butler, look at him in the corner there, knocking down a 3 of his own.
Are we yay or nay on the hair?
I think Wendy should try it.
Yay.
I'm yay too.
The Heat turn over the 76ers here, get out and run, and then Hero recovers right there. And then Jared McCain, once again, Tyler Hero takes it all the way the other way. Tough finish. Look at this. The 76ers were outscored by 19 points in the third. That's their season worst point differential. Hero had 18 points.
Didn't get better.
Yeah, it didn't. To finish one off, Chanae, Jimmy Butler takes it to the rack.
2 teams with 2 different trajectories. They had the same opportunity, missing star players that come back, and one team took the best of it, like with Jimmy Butler there, and another team got the worst of it.
Butler had 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Jimmy's telling them right there to go home. Here was Nick Nurse after the game, but it took a while.
Sorry for the delay. We just had a little meeting, so I just took a little bit longer than normally get here. Won't get into specifics of that meeting, but happy to answer any questions about the game.
Let's get into the specifics of that meeting right now, though, with our senior insider, Shams Charania, because it took over an hour for the team to speak to reporters, Shams, after the game. And just for some context, it's usually like 15 minutes before we see folks start to come out and speak to us. So what more can you tell us about this team meeting that Nurse was alluding to here?
Kyle Lowry, their championship guard, he's the one that called for this team meeting after the game. It included players, included coaches. It was an hour and a half of everyone, all sides, airing out what they felt was urgent matters, call to actions on both sides. Nick Nurse challenging the players for having more attention to detail in practices during the games. And then the players also challenging Nick Nurse to hold them more accountable. But the most notable thing, Malika, sources tell me Tyrese Maxey challenged Joel Embiid, the face of that franchise, the former league MVP, about his tardiness and about being on time for team activities and the trickle-down effect that takes place when a player like Joel Embiid is late or absent or whatever the case may be for any team event or activity, and how that could impact other players and coaches. And they have a very close relationship, Malika. Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's really taking Tyrese Maxey under his wing. They hold each other accountable. In this way, Tyrese Maxey tried to do that last night as a leader. This is a team that's 2-11.
Yeah.
They're still hopeful to get Tyrese Maxey back in the lineup soon, but time is running out here for them to really turn this around.
Yeah, when you look at historically teams that have started out the way that the 76ers had, many of them don't make the playoffs, let alone make it to the finals, which is what this team was put together to do. Shams, thank you so very much for those details. I want to bring in the rest of our panel here because, Kendrick, you've been right in these sorts of team meetings before. What do you make of all of this?
Well, number one, it's a team meeting and not a worldly meeting, so the information shouldn't have got leaked out. So there's no trust in this process, right? Number two, good for Tyrese Maxey for calling out Joel Embiid, right? I played with 15 plus Hall of Famers, and look, none of them was perfect, but all of them was true professionals, right? And all of them were leaders in their own right, meaning showing up on time, respecting the coach. That's the most important thing, because when you're late to the event, when you're late to practices or whatever it may be, it's disrespectful to the coach, and it tends to send a message throughout the locker room that others could be disrespectful. So shout out to Tyrese Maxey for calling them out, because in order for the Sixers to go where they're trying to go, Joel Embiid has to be held accountable all across the board.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. No matter whether you are playing or not, right? When you're the star, you set the standard. And in this case, with Joel Embiid and the Sixers, it feels like we've been receiving mixed messages externally, and now we've just found out that there are mixed messages also internally. And I think that sort of trickled into what we have heard per Shams, because if you see Joel Embiid yesterday, clearly he's not his full self. He averages in the 3 games, what is it, like 15 points per game, shooting 32% from the field. But when you are going through those types of slumps, you have to go above and beyond to show your team that we're committed to digging ourselves out of this hole. And I feel like I'm right there with you, Perk. Tyrese Maxey being able to step in, hold him accountable is exactly what you need to sort of fix this situation, because this is rock bottom. It's absolutely rock bottom for this squad. They have to start building upon the good that they can have both on the court, but more importantly, it seems like it has to start off the court. And hopefully this is a turning point for all of them.
Losing a game in Miami isn't the end of the world. Losing a game where you get up by 19 and fall down is what's concerning, especially after they just gotten boat raced the game before in Orlando. To get boat raced in the second half of back-to-back games, that shows a lack of team spirit. And I'm not even worried about the record, Malika, because they're in the Eastern Conference. And so like all of these years, the East wasn't bad in all those years. So while that's relevant to show on a graphic, I don't care about it. I care more about the team spirit and about something else. There's something else that makes me more worried than anything this team means.
Which is what?
Which is the way Joel Embiid looks. You know, when you look at his, the way he's moving on the court, and you talk to scouts, like they're like really concerned, like what's going on with this guy? Like when this guy would get the ball in a triple threat position last year, you were cooked. You were cooked. This is a guy who averaged more points than minutes played a year ago. He is averaging 20 fewer points per game. 20 fewer points per game. Okay. The other thing is, last night he didn't get to the foul line. He gets to the foul line. This is a guy who would put the ball on the court, and you didn't have anything to do with it. You had to foul him. So, regardless of the record, if Joel Embiid can't rebound, and by the way, all the way down the line, Paul George doesn't look good, Kyle Lowry doesn't look good, Andre Drummond doesn't look good, but if Embiid can't rebound, I mean, in every sense of the word, they're going to have big problems.
Let's focus in more on Joel Embiid here. How did he look to you, Perk?
Oh, how do he look, huh? Now people are concerned the way that Joel Embiid looks. But when I said last year that he should shut down and not come back for the postseason, people were looking at me like I had chitlins and pig feet on my face. At the end of the day, I told y'all what was going to happen because they didn't have a plan in place. He doesn't look healthy. He doesn't have lift. He can't move in the pick and roll. We're watching this. But again, you go out and you get Paul George for what reason? Because you know you can't depend on the health of Joel Embiid. We didn't know that Tyrese Maxey was going to go out. So now, can you elevate your game? Again, at the end of the day, yes, Joel Embiid does need to play better in order for Philly to win games, but it would be unfair for us to sit up here and say that that Philly should rely heavy on Joel Embiid when our eyes tell us that he can't move.
Well, more than just this week or this month, because again, 2-11 record, Tyrese Maxey hasn't been playing. Shams said he could be back within this week. It's fine. On September 20th, today is November 19th. Roughly 2 months ago, 76ers gave Joel Embiid a 3-year, $190 million contract extension to the 2 years he had left on his contract.
Right.
He's got to show that he can be healthy. Like that's my concern right now. I honestly don't care whether they're in 11th place or they're in 7th place or whatever. Joel Embiid's got to show he's healthy. Otherwise, we're all messing around.
But in order to do so, you have to be honest with yourself. And right now, Philly is under pressure due to public perception because we have been questioning what's going on with him. We're doing the eye test. This guy probably is not 100%. Then why is he out there? And I feel like if we were just honest about the circumstance, which it seems like they're trying to manage something in this process, they've created this big problem where if you were just honest, he's not ready to go, then you won't have to deal with the pressure of putting him out there when he's not 100%.
Right.
This problem was of their own creation in some ways.
I think a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we were saying, okay, but we haven't seen their big three together. We haven't seen Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid take the floor. And now I'm just wondering, is a healthy Tyrese Maxey enough if this is the version we're going to get?
Like in the standings, yes. If you look at their schedule coming up, it's not undoable. And with where the East is, they could basically have 2 good weeks and be in 6th place.
Right.
So yeah, they can recover. And by the way, in 2 months, Joel may be back to his normal self, maybe bouncing around. When we say, oh, remember how we were worried about in November?
You say no way?
No way. No way. I don't expect Joel Embiid to be healthy for the rest of this season. I don't think he'll be 100% for the rest of his career. It's something going on there. It's just something going on.
Again, 2 months ago, they gave him a $190 million contract. If they thought there was something going on, they wouldn't have given it to him.
Yeah, and I think at this point, it's like, is it something he should be playing through? Are we better off making sure we wait a little bit longer and not deal with this pressure and make sure when he's out there, he can be that guy we've seen?
On paper, they have the team to compete with the elite in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, but the team that we are seeing out on the floor is not that. They need the Joel Embiid that demands the double team that you're talking about if they even want to have a prayer in the conversation.
Thank you for watching so far. Leave your comment below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any detail. A hug and see you next time.